I really believe probably the scariest and saddest and most stressful situations that can come from an affair is when a child is created by the affair. I thank my lucky stars every day that wasn't me, but I've seen this happen countless times. And I think the question we ask ourselves, those of us who may want to stay in our marriage and find out there's another child involved, we ask ourselves, can we do this? Am I capable of reconciling in a marriage with a guy who got somebody else pregnant while he was married to me? And knowing the 18-year commitment that comes with that, the financial commitment, the personal commitment, there's a lot to answer. So we're going to unpack that a little bit, and I'm going to give some suggestions that may help. So stay tuned. You know, when you find out that the affair partner is pregnant, I'm sure that's a huge blow. And that makes things so much more complicated when you're trying to reconcile your marriage. So a few things that I'm going to suggest we think through if that were to happen in our situation. And first and foremost, after the initial shock wears off, I think it's time to have a serious conversation with our husband about what he wants. There are scenarios out there where the husband really doesn't want to be involved in the life of this affair child. And that's their prerogative, that's their choice. So they'll allow the affair partner to go and move and raise the child and all this. And there could be future issues with that too if they change their mind or whatever, but that happens. So just really kind of saying, okay, you know, husband, where are you with all of this? How do you feel about all of this? And how does the affair partner feel about this? What role does she want, you know, your husband to play in this child's life? What is she asking for? What is she demanding? Because believe me, depending on her personality, she's going to want something. Or is she even going to have the baby? That's another option too that I just realized. I mean, it's just really going to depend on the scenario. So once you find out what people want in this case, then it's time for you and your husband to sit down and get to work. If the answer to that is she wants him to be part of the baby's life, she's going to stay part of your life because of this, the child will be part of your life, then if you and your husband are seriously wanting to keep your marriage intact and work forward, it can be done. I've actually seen it done, and I've seen it done in a semi or even really decent and healthy way. So it can be done, but you have to be intentional. First thing, I would get an attorney immediately to determine what you're willing to give, because here's the thing, she can sue for specific, for custody, she can sue for you know, care for the dependent and things like that. So she can sue for money, for child support, all this kind of stuff. But if you guys come up with a plan and be proactive and decide exactly what financial help that you want and are willing to give to help this child flourish, that may be a great way to start the process. Don't wait for her. You guys decide what you can afford to do. Okay? Second, I would include in a legal document what the visitation will look like. And as the betrayed spouse, here's the key. If you want to do this and you've got 18 years with this child, then you need to have very clear boundaries as far as the relationship goes between your husband and the affair partner. If that child is to spend time with your husband, it is at your home, with you present. Your husband and the affair partner are not alone together. They don't go places together. You are present if you're able. Now, I get that if you work or things like that, maybe there was a doctor's appointment that you couldn't be at. The goal is to keep their relationship as separated and platonic as it can possibly be, to keep them from having to have intimate conversations. Everything needs to be about the child, nothing personal. You need to set that boundary, and your husband needs to understand that. This will no longer be a relationship that is intimate. This is a business transaction kind of thing. How is the child? What do you need? Is the child sick? Are you dropping the kid off on Saturday? Whatever it may be. And speaking of dropping off, he doesn't pick the child up. She brings the child to him. And if she cannot bring the child to him, either you pick the child up or you go with him to pick the child up. There's no in between. So be clear. You decide what those boundaries, I'm telling you what I'm suggesting, but you decide what those boundaries look like. As a step parent, as a person who will be part of this child's life growing up, you have every right to be part of those transactions. Now, the one thing that, as a step parent, we really don't have the ability to do, and we shouldn't intercede, is decisions about the child. Healthcare decisions, school decisions, things like that. We can weigh in with our husband, but really that's between our husband and the affair partner as the mother of the child. So there are some things we need to back away from and allow them to work it out. Text messages. If the affair partner is texting him, she needs to include the wife it needs to be a group text. If she's calling him, he puts it on speakerphone. So it's completely transparent, because there is a lot out there about when there is a child involved, that the husband and the affair partner end up becoming intimate again, because really parenting can turn into intimacy. You have to set healthy boundaries there. So if you want to do this and you want to create a scenario where this child is part of your lives, and while you guys are still mending and healing your marriage and you're trying to make it work, be super intentional. Be proactive. Figure out ways in which you can create a life that is protecting your marriage while allowing that child to be part of your life. And remember, this is an innocent kid. That's not their fault. And, I know there's a lot to work through with that too, because it'll be easy to resent the fact that this child's even on the planet and how they got here. But there is a way to do this if you're intentional and you're proactive. So give that a shot. Find a really good attorney, sit down, figure out the details. Hopefully your husband's going to work with you and be on board with all. This is just smart. This is just smart, because you can't have a healthy marriage without healthy boundaries, especially if another child's in the picture. So give that a try. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're in that situation. I know that must be super challenging, and I'm sorry you're going through it. But it's not impossible to heal your marriage in that scenario. And if that's what you want to do and that's what you're looking to do, I wish you all the luck in the world getting that worked out. Again, proactive and intentional. Those are your two best friends. And healthy boundaries. Okay? I have a great Facebook group below, and we talk about stuff like this all the time. So join. It's just for wives. It's private. And I've got a couple of free resources below as well that I think you may find helpful. So check those out. And thanks for taking the time to watch this. And if you liked this or like any of my other videos, I invite you to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my new releases. Take care.